Annie Brophy was an artist as well as a photographer, and the care and attention she gave to her work is evident in all of the approximately 60,000 photographs she took during her career. Although she took photographs of the city's buildings, she's best remembered for her wonderful images of the people of Waterford City and the surrounding counties.
Baby, baby, you've got the cutest little baby face. There's not another one to take your place. Baby face, life will hardly jump.
Annie Brophy was a Waterford native. She was born in 1899 in Johnstown. She spent her entire life living in the city. She trained as a photographer after she left the Mercy School. It was a very unusual thing for a young woman to become a professional photographer. And what was even more unusual was that in the early 1920s, when she was barely 20s, she set up in business by herself in her home in Barker Street. And for the rest of her life, from 1920s to the 1970s, she photographed Waterford people.
In 2005, Waterford City Council purchased her life's work for permanent preservation in Waterford City Archives as a fitting tribute to the photographer. The next exhibition from the Annie Brophy collection focuses entirely on her work, capturing what were probably the first photographs taken of new arrivals.
We were looking for a theme for the exhibition, and at 10 o'clock on a Monday morning, I just said, lads, we're going with babies. And an hour and a half later, we had 60 lovely baby images from the collection. The City Council bought Annie Brophy's life work, which is 60,000 negatives approximately a few years ago, and it's being permanently preserved in the city archives. Only in one case did we actually use a print. The other 59 images are direct from the negatives.
Donald Moore says the reaction from the public has been great and in some cases has helped to identify the child. In others, they've gotten surnamed and addresses, but not first names.
We have been working with 40, 50 and 60-year-old addresses, so it isn't always easy to identify people. Of the 60 people here at this stage, we have definite names and addresses for 40. We would have had some of the people who are here at the opening. We would have also had parents of some of the people who are here at the opening. And we are asking members of the public if they identify or can identify anybody who we do not have a full name for, just to fill out a very simple form, and hopefully by the time the exhibition ends on the 26th of May, we will have full names for everybody. The response to all our Annie Brophy exhibitions is always wonderful. This is the third exhibition. It's the biggest exhibition we've done. People are coming into the library in large numbers to see the exhibition. We're very lucky to have this space available. People come to the library anyway. It's a lovely public space. And there are very few families in the city who would not have an Annie Brophy photograph somewhere.
A team of people was assigned to go through the negatives in order to get the appropriate photos.
Well, when Donald first decided to go with the Brophy babies, we first had to go to the planning where we keep our negatives and all that. So we went down there one morning and we went through thousands, hundreds of photographs. We just picked out what we thought was the nicest babies. You know what I mean? They were all lovely, but we just picked them out. So we then had to go back to the office and we had to go through the phase then of getting out her books where she had everything registered, and we had to go, you see, each negative has a number and a name. So we had to go through the books and we found all the names and numbers. So then we also had to try and find those people. So most of the people, it took us maybe a week or more, myself and Eleanor and Jane, which were the two other assistants in the archives. And we went through everything, phone books. A lot of the phones weren't in, they were probably ex-directory or whatever. Maybe in them days older people didn't have their phones, but we eventually, before we put the exhibition on, that we eventually had about 20, I'd say, that we could identify. But since the exhibition opened, even on the night of the exhibition, there was about 4 or 5 people that came to us that identified babies in it, you know.
Annie Brophy became a celebrity in her own right because of the work she did in Waterford City.
You ask most people, who's Annie Brophy, they'll tell you straight away who she is, like, you know, because she was a genius. She was a master of what she done. Because in those days, women were not really kind of allowed to do things like that, you know, but Annie went her own way and done her own thing. And everything she done, she was just genius at her work, like, you know what I mean?
Following a number of phone calls and questions asked, and by showing the images to some lifelong residents of the city, it gauged a positive response from family members.
Oh, they were delighted. Anyone that we could contact and identify, they were absolutely delighted that we contacted them and that, you know. And even some of them know, like, that we were here the first night we opened. The girl that was doing the catering, actually, she just went around looking before it opened. And the very last photograph she looked at was her sister. And she said how she knew it was that there was loads of Brophy babies hanging up in our kitchen. And if she'd have known, like, and if we had known, her mother would have been invited here, you know. But it's great now. The response we've got now so far has been fabulous, you know.
The Annie Brophy photo collection holds a lot of surprises for people coming to see it. You never know who may be spotted.
Our mayor, Chow O'Neill, and he was delighted to, you know, we hadn't got a negative of him, but he had this photograph and he brought it into us. So
Hasn't changed a bit?
No, he's still the same. You'd know him from the photograph. And he opened the exhibition for us on last Thursday night. So and it was a great success now on the night.
Many households in Waterford have Annie Brophy photos, and even local celebrities are curious to see what photos are hanging.
Everybody in Waterford, well certainly most people that I know were either an Annie Brophy baby or certainly have a Brophy picture in their sitting room. In our house we have 2. There's one, because Annie used to hand paint the photographs as well. So there's a picture of myself and my sister with my mum, and I had a kind of a green dress on me with little tiny little daisies on them, and all of the detail is just amazing. They've all been hand painted. Janet as well, even the colour of her eyes, the colour of her hair, the whole lot is so accurate. And there's also a picture of me when I was very small with my mum. I think I was only a couple of weeks old. I think that was the thing, as soon as you came from Mirman, she went straight down to Annie Brophy. So I was just looking at the exhibition here, and it's fantastic now. So it is. It's great to see a woman like that, you know, to become recognised for her work. At the time, like, I know certainly it was just somebody that you went to have your photograph taken, but now I see, like, the amount of work that went into it, you know. Everybody's here, all the streets are represented, you know. There's people from Doyle Street to the Yellow Road to Osmond Street, out, you know, the surrounding areas as well, out to Kilmeaden and different places. So I mean, she had sort of a wide circle. Everybody came to her, and as I said, she was very forward thinking. And when you look at them, you wouldn't think that they were that old. A lot of them look very modern. So it's great, it's really good.